And we're live. Rafi, take over the mic.
Alright, question is, what is the motion? This House believes that women should be criminally liable for harm to fetuses in utero as a result of their lifestyle choices. Can I ask the PM to take the floor?
Hey, Sajid, one sec. Post the thing on online debates and whatnot. The link to the.
Yeah, a লিঙ্কটা দিচ্ছি। Can you see
Okay,
the
Prime
link?
Minister.
আচ্ছা লিঙ্কটা দিয়ে
Yeah, got the link, Sajid. Thanks.
Guys, we're burning daylight here, or moonlight, whichever. But come on, someone, take the floor.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
everyone mute except Inky.
Is anyone keeping time?
You can time yourself if you want. I'll give you an 8-minute count.
Okay. Are the judges ready?
Yep, ready when you are.
Okay. Um, Honorable Speaker, in current society, we see women taking harsh lifestyle choices or going out partying with their friends or drinking or smoking and having bad lifestyle choices. This harms those pregnant women and harms in turn the child which is born in the future, her child which is born, and this child is born with disabilities or is either mentally affected or physically affected. Now, what is our objective? Our objective is this: is that protecting the child in these fetuses, and also how under our model the women is also benefited. Our model, uh, uh, what are fetuses? Fetuses are unborn child which
না না
are
করছি
present in the utero or the womb, and these fetuses also contains life form. Okay, and what our model is simple. Under our model, the women who are pregnant and harms the fetuses will be criminal liable. And when and how does that happen? When they go for a checkup and the doctors see that the fetus is harmed, then these doctors would report the women to the reliable authorities or to the police, so that the woman is criminally liable. Now, what will I talk to you about? I'll talk to you about first how life is important, second how this was a rational choice, and third how it harms the woman and also the child. Now, first of all, how why life is important. Because understand that the life is unquantifiable. People just can harm another life being, another creature, just for satisfying their own happiness. As rational beings, we can't just to steal something from our own friend, just believing that it would benefit us more rather than staying with him. Staying with him, we can't just steal another person's car so that we could satisfy our own happiness, because we could satisfying our own happiness, and therefore we believe that it is not our right upon their own person to harm someone else, another living being, just to satisfy their own happiness. And also, what happens with these lifestyle choices? These lifestyle choices are, are either say harsh drink, either smoking or either drinking or either not taking their own nutrients, and this in turn harms the fetuses which is born with disabilities or either mentally affected or physically affected, and therefore this is harming that particular person, which we believe the woman does not have a right to harm that particular child. Moving to my second perspective about how this is a rational choice, because understand that when this woman had sex or decided to become pregnant, she knew that she would carry a child in a fetus and there would be a life being in her womb. She did it rationally. It was a rational chosen. It was a rational choice, and knowingly she did not take contraceptives. And therefore, we believe that these women knew the consequences that would prevail just for her harsh lifestyle choices, and knew that her lifestyle choices had to stop, that it would be a burden upon her, and she knowingly and thinking beforehand took that choice and had sex. And therefore we believe that it's a duty upon that woman to protect for that fetus and not to let anyone or herself harm that particular fetus. It isn't a right upon her. Moving to my third concept, how it harms the woman itself and also harms the child. Please understand that this woman has to go through a numerous pressures and has to go through a numerous loss of problems when this fetus is harmed. Because when this fetus is harmed because of her rough smoking or her rough drinking, that child is born with disabilities, and this disability and this parents, the women and the husband, has to take care of the child, and it puts a financial burden upon upon their own family, and it also puts a burden upon them, so that they have to take care of the child every day, day in and day out, all 24/7, have to keep a surveillance over that particular child. And therefore in the future it harms that particular woman. It also puts a mental pressure upon that woman. But even if the woman is least interested in that child, we believe that it is not a right upon her to harm the husband or other people who are associated with her, who want the child to live a normal life as other normal beings. We believe that if the woman is not interested, their husband may be emotionally attached to the child or want that child to grow up and be something, some role model for other people. He may have dreams for that particular child, and we do not believe that it is a right upon that woman to crush the dreams of our own husband. And also it harms that particular child. It is a burden upon the child to be born with disabilities. And even for these harsh lifestyle choices, in the worst case scenarios, we believe that this fetus may die and the child may die, which in turn is either harming life in itself, because we don't have the right to harm life. We don't have the right to harm another person and take away life, because life is not dependent upon us. We are not the ones who give life. And therefore we believe that it harms the women and harms the child. Now, how is putting these women criminal liable helps under our model, and why other alternatives won't work? Because understand that when this woman is criminal liable, the woman has a permanent criminal record upon her. That woman has to pay either a penalty or a fine to the police or to the government. And therefore in the future, if she wants to get a particular job, she can't get that, or she may not be able to live a very stable life, because they know that she has a criminal record upon her, and therefore people won't take her in as assistants, or take her in for the particular profession. And therefore we believe that it is an incentive for the particular woman not to harm her. And also we believe that even when they have to pay a particular penalty, then that women then it also creates a deterrence, so they don't do commit it in the future. It also shows to other women, it also shows to their friends who are also living a rough life, having taking rough lifestyle choices, that this is harmful. It harms the fetus, it harms the child, and they show it to their own friends that they can't do this, harming another person for their own benefits, and also harming another person for their own benefits. Now, what do we show you under our model? Under our model, we show you the how why life is very important, and that that person does not have the right to harm another person. That this woman choice it is took this choice rationally and knowingly the consequences, and therefore it is a burden upon her to take care of the child. How it in the future it harms the woman and also harms the child. And even if the woman is not emotionally attached, we believe that other people surrounding her, who are relatives or her husband, or even the child's grandparents who want to see the child, are also harmed. We believe that is not the right upon the person. And also under our model, because of labeling this person as a labeling this act as a crime, this it prevents other women from harming their own fetuses fetuses, and therefore it shows to the world that it's not the case. uh, the case we give you a better model where the fetus is protected, is not harmed, and where the women in the future
Okay, that's fine.
also avoids serious consequences. We are very proud to propose. Thank you. 8 minute
All right,
20
I
seconds.
thank the Prime Minister for his speech, and now I call the Leader of the Opposition to come up and deliver his or her case.
Acha. And I'm bro. Can you like give the reply speech? Cause,
Yeah, sure.
uh,
There is
cause I
no
don't have
reply.
like.
There is no reply.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there's no reply.
Acha, Jose. Okay. Uh, আর আমার ফোনে চার্জ শেষ হয়ে যেতে পারে, তখন আমি হলো ইয়েতে দেখতে থাকবো ইউটিউব। আচ্ছা। আহ, I thank the Speaker for giving me the floor. So the motion that we have before us today is that the House would believes that women should be criminally liable for harm to fetuses in utero as a result of their lifestyle choices. Now, what has side government come up and tell us? They have told us that they would penalize these women, that these women would not get jobs because and would then not take these lifestyle choices. Well, here's the thing: if the mom would you do you want a child to grow up without a mother? Do you think that's good for the child to grow up without never having met their mother, or because what happens is that if a parent does not have a job, if a parent is not financially stable, what happens is that the child care services then take note of that. What they do is that if they see that a mother or that a mother or a father are not able to care for the children because, well, as you have because of the thing because of the things that you have put, they because of them being criminal penalized in the past because of, say, a minor offense, a somewhat minor offense, but you thought that because here's the thing. Let's look at it like this. If a mother goes out drinking one night, and then what happens is that you criminally penalize that mother for having drunk and having caused an insignificant amount of harm to the fetus. What happens is that there comes a criminal record, as you have said, on the mother's CV. And what happens then is that that mother might not, and if that might not get a job in the future because of the criminal record, because of having harmed the kid, harmed the future kid. And what happens then is that if that mother happens to be single, or if the father is not properly able to support the family, it's due to there lies a big burden on the mother to support the family. And what happens is that if by not being able to properly support the family, childcare services would then take the kid away from the family. And we do not want a society where children grow up without their birth parents. So yes, moving on. Said Kavan came up and talked to us a lot about that they are working to protect fetuses, that women are taking harsh lifestyle choices, that life is important, it's a rational choice, and it harms both parties and whatnot. So and they should have taken contraceptives. But here's the thing: it's the choice of the mother, it's the choice of the woman if she wants to take the pill or not. If she obviously did not take the pill because she wants the kid. But here's the thing: do you think it's right for us to take away their freedom of choice? And that is my first major argument: freedom of choice. Because because we do not have the right to take away someone's right to say some small acts to their small life choices. We do not have the right to shape up their whole life and make them live in a particular way and restrict their choices. We don't want that. But at the same time, we do want to protect the fetuses. So instead of criminalizing certain acts, like, say, having say taking a cigarette or maybe go drinking or whatnot, maybe put restrictions on that. So yes, because it's the better of both the options. Because when you totally criminalize it and totally ban something, you can't tell a smoker to completely stop smoking, because what happens is that person will go through withdrawal symptoms, and that in turn would affect the fetus even further, even more, and that is even more bad for the mother and the fetus as well. So instead of that, maybe put restrictions, maybe a cigarette a week or a cigarette a day. I don't know, but obviously by consultation with doctors, we can impose a restriction which is at the same time not at the same time in which the lifestyle choice would not affect the fetus, and at the same time they are able to carry out their lives as it were with a few slight adjustments. Maybe in the case of drinking, maybe a drink every other week, and whatnot. So yes, instead of, because when you criminalize something, you are making it you're making it when you criminalize something, you're making it very complicated. Because firstly, if a woman if that woman is walking down the street, we have cases of passive smoking. You have cases of passive smoking is pretty prevalent.
POI,
The
sir?
not taken, sir. Passive smoking is pretty prevalent. Then you have other environmental factors that come in, which might harm the fetus. So how would you know that that certain lifestyle choice has harmed the fetus? Maybe that did not harm the fetus. We do not have we do not yet have any conclusive way to conclusive way to see if the harm that is caused to a fetus is through a lifestyle choice or not. So yes, that's why take such a strong stand, and such a very a stand that infringes on people's fundamental rights, when we can place a lighter stance which is both good for both the parties. The woman is able to exercise some of her rights, and at the same time the fetuses are protected. And then another thing, we can not just restrictions. Why not just we can also counsel the women that, okay, you are expecting a kid. You would want the kid to grow up as a healthy person. So why not just lower down on the drinking? Why not take those nicotine patches? Why not do the, and so on and so forth? Counsel the women, create awareness campaigns. There are other methods, uh, like counseling and putting certain small restrictions through which we can protect the fetuses and let the women go about their lives as they with as little as adjustment as possible. So everyone's happy. And and obviously a mother does not want to and why will the counseling and awareness work? Well, here's the thing: the mothers would not want to harm their kids, because this being this life, you are you are basically breathing and eating and living for it, for this being for 9 hard months. You would not want to harm this, because that child is part of the mother herself. And so there is a bond that's way more. There remains a bond that is very strong between a mother and a kid. And so I believe that those restrictions and those counseling sessions will work. And with that, I end my speech and thank the speaker for giving me the floor.
Afif, could you check the group page, please?
Acha, so
I'm starting in three, two, one. All right. First of all, they have talked about how we are restricting the freedom of choice of the woman. So first thing, Rafi, can you Rafi? All right. Can I restart my speech? Like that was a
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, sure, go.
yeah. All right. So first of all, we're going to talk about how they have talked about like restricting the freedom of choice of the woman. First, we believe that it is completely justified to restrict the freedom of choice of the woman because here we're talking about uh, the freedom of choice of another being. The fetuses, they grow up to be a person and they grow up to be a human being just like the mother. So when you are when they are actually carrying out life choices that will affect the fetus, they are infringing upon the freedom of choice of another being. By doing that, they are actually taking away their rights to act a certain way. So someone who will be born with physical disabilities cannot walk. Someone with mental disabilities cannot think like other people without mental disabilities. So you're taking away right from them by acting a certain way. And when you are doing that, you are carrying out something unethical and immoral. And like everything, and unethical and immoral things should be punished to deter them. So just like we restrict the freedom of choices, such as stealing, no one comes up and say, why would you prevent someone from stealing? It's someone's choice. No, the thing is, when you're doing that, you're infringing upon someone's right to private property. So here, when you are infringing upon the right of somebody to live a healthy life, what you're doing is taking away their right. So you should not be allowed to do that. The freedom of choice is only restricted to where it only affects yourself and not somebody else. And we're not. And another thing that they have pointed out is that we cannot control small lifestyle choices. Small lifestyle choices, by definition, are going to have no impact on the child. So it's not that we are going to punish every single harm that is done to the child. Of course, it has to be a significant effect. You have to prove it that that there is a problem, that there is a harm that is done by a certain activity. So you can't just say that you take a drink or smoke a single cigarette and it have an effect on it. Like if there is an effect, if an effect is seen, if a harm is seen to the fetus, only then only are you going to hold the woman criminally responsible. So another thing that they have talked about is passive smoking and how you actually find out if they are causing it. Well, there are extensive researches that are done that shows that what exactly causes harm to fetuses. So we refer to those, find out exactly what is causing the harms. And of course, if a fetus is born harmed, we can find out what led to it. Like there are medical tests with which we can find out. So another thing that they have talked about is that they talked about how it breaks fundamental rights, and we have already addressed that by talking about that the fetus that grow up to be a person also has fundamental rights. So breaking their fundamental, we are not even breaking their fundamental right, because we are protecting the fundamental right of the person that the fetus will eventually born out to be. So another thing that they have talked about is, what about counseling the pregnant woman? So one thing we need to understand is that many women just do not care about their children. Like at that point, they do not have a bond with them. And another thing is that like there are not taken, and there the the opposition does not seem to understand exactly how psychology of people works. Like everyone knows that it is harmful to smoke for themselves. Everyone knows that it is harmful to drink a lot of alcohol without moderation, but a lot of people do it anyway. So counseling does not really help to that extent. We need to give complete deterrence, proper punishment, to actually make them certain that they do not want they don't just act out of complete self-interest. Another thing is that these effects that are done to fetuses will manifest itself in a really long time. It is not seen right away. So even if the parents know in abstract terms that it is going to eventually affect their children, they don't actually see it in their own eyes. And as human beings, we are all fallible. So the only way to make sure that they do not make lifestyle choices that will affect the fetus as they grow up to be a person is by ensuring that they are criminally liable. That is the only way we prevent this from happening. In their model, counseling just does not work. So to extend upon the point that has been made by Inkiad, let's talk about deterrence and how it actually works. So a lot of women, as I've said, are not fully aware of what exactly life choices harm the people, and the only way to make sure that they care about these lifestyle choices and they care about all these things is not by education, because education to an extent works, but the problem with this is that it is not completely seen right away. All these effects, they manifest itself in a really long time. So the only way to make sure that these fetuses are not harmed uh, is by ensuring that they are held criminally liable. So another point that the team opposition has made is that as 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 women are punished, the children will grow up without their parents. So this is something that we have talked about already. Inkiad has talked about already. We have said how it's not going to be the women are not going to be sent to prison, rather they're going to be fined, and the criminal record itself would act as a deterrent. So it is not that they are going to be sent as a jail. So criminal responsibility does not automatically mean that they're going to be sent to prison. The deterrence would be the fines and the criminal record the woman would have. So with that, I would like to end my speech. Extremely proud to propose.
What was the time?
All right, is Nafis here?
7 minutes 6 seconds.
Is Nafis here?
Naim was supposed to do this like a second speaker.
All right,
Yeah.
sure. Naim,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I'm ready to go. So should I start? Hello?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you. You can start whenever.
Okay, cool. They come up and tell us that we see them partying and we see them living their lives out because it has become a crime in today's world to see women live their lives out. We, in the context of America, no state has
Stop
passed
now.
this law of it's ensuring personhood to the fetus and overlooking the we do not see this passing out in the real world because the magnitude of what they propose is intricately tied to what proposed the pregnant of the child. Who better than the mother would know the benefits of the child? Who are we to say that we know better than the mothers themselves? Because mothers understood that's best for their children. Not only that, we have no right to take them back to the dark times that we see in Afghanistan, we see in Pakistan, where women are forced to live their lives out in certain ways because the men dictate so. And in today's society, in this context, we would see the white patriarchal leaders dictating the terms as to which the women can live out to and whatnot. We see driving as an potentially injurious as an activity that is potentially injurious to health. We see flying in airplanes as an injurious act of that is potentially dangerous and risky. We see these women go out and drive every day. We see them working, and it's because it's necessary for them to work. Understand that if a 16-year-old is pregnant, she cannot be taken out of school because high school is a dangerous environment because there are potential dangers over there. You can't rob her of her education. You can't rob her of those rights because her work environment forces her into enough stress that she has to now drink in order to cope with it. And whatever that amount of drinking, understand that there are not enough scientific measures as they tell you that there are the damage to the fetus can be directly recorded. This is a lie. This cannot be done. But even if it could be done, we tell you that the risks of fetal alcohol syndrome are far lower than what happens when the average woman drinks and when the average woman goes out and smokes. So whenever you punish that, whenever you criminalize that, what is likely to happen is only robbing women of their choices. So when they cannot go out and function at the max of their abilities, the question is never why can't men not drink or smoke? Because when they do that, they're harming the sperm, and in turn, they might harm the lives of the fetus eventually, right? But that is never the question, because what we're used to is seeing misogyny in these societies, in assuming that the state has any choice whatsoever over dictating the terms of a woman, because we've been so used to doing this since the 1800s, for the past 2000 years, of dictating to women that how they can live their lives, what they can do with their bodies, what they can do with their future children. Understand, they have not, the opposite side government has not proposed these alternatives in their world. All that is likely in the autonomy of state would choose to act upon, the women would be more likely to go for abortion in
Bro,
fear
can you repeat the last 30
of
seconds?
in fear of the state criminalizing.
Could you repeat the last 30 seconds, please? We couldn't, none of us could hear anything. Hello? Right there? I'm. Oh dear lord. Can someone get a hold of 9?
No, because I'm the only speaker from my side, and I couldn't hear him properly because
Yeah.
photonic
Nine,
was.
could you please just repeat
Yeah.
the last minute of your speech because none of us could understand anything.
Sorry.
Could you just repeat the last minute of your speech entirely because none of us could understand anything?
Oh. Sorry. Right. The world that they have proposed so far is the one where women
UI,
are more
sir.
likely to go in for abortion. No, not taken. And because these women are fearing coercive measures taken in by the state, punitive forces that are being held out against them, and in fear they go for abortion. Now imagine children dying instead of ever getting a chance at life. Whereas what we have proposed comparatively is that we give them educational systems that what they can do in order to prevent them, what maybe what their nicotine patches could be used instead of going in and smoking, how we can go ahead and solve the problems that causes them to drink in their workplaces, how pregnant women are not given the opportunities in workplaces to take that ample amount of time off, and that is the problem we have to tackle, because that's why these issues are understand these issues are far more deep rooted than what they have proposed. As there is a reason why they go in and drink, or they go in and smoke, because they are under stress and because their workplaces are not providing with them, and that's what we have proposed: educational systems, regulatory systems, and drug rehabilitation systems, along with any children that are born with defects as such, to be put under systems of rehabilitation and care by the government. Also, we propose alcohol syndrome, or children being less cognitively developed due to the due to women, regardless of which title, have not specified at which time. I would for the benefit of the case assume that it's from which we consider fetals to have certain experiences and consider them sentient. And criminalizing them would take it far back into 8 to 10 weeks, when they might have even opted out of the pregnancy, right? Because in a lot of cases, these women have to go through with this because of the orthodox way they're brought up in, because their religion tells them to do so, their faith dictates that, and many of them are minors, so minors that would have to give away their children. Understand how we cannot put in more burdens and more rob them of the choices that they deserve as an individual or as an adult. When the patriarchal leaders, the white patriarchal leaders, dictate the terms for women living in ghettos or women from minorities, women that have already been persecuted throughout the ages, we do this dangerous claim, we do this dangerous harm of what we had done so many years back, of when we had robbed them of their choices, of their individual autonomy. So the risks that they have pointed out, that with these children might, which they have not really characterized as what could be these risks, but we are to assume that the risks are that they're not fully developed, or they have trouble coping in with their education later on in their lives, are risks that are already associated with many other things. As such, if the parents are under a lower IQ themselves, then the child is also more likely to be under that lower IQ. Does that mean that you would prevent these people with lower IQs or intelligent quotients from having babies in the first place, because you think that uh, children having difficulty in their classrooms is such a big problem that you would rob women of their individual autonomy? Of course not. You would not, because you at that moment realize that women, you recognize the rights of those individuals, and it's so much easier to recognize the husband's dream, as they put it, right? Because it's so much easier to give rights to the man and instead of the woman, for as all of these countries have been doing. In countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, what it's particularly problematic, what they have stated so far, is the social stigma that these women already face, of how they're likely to act how they have to act more feminine, how they have to take care of more of themselves, because they now are responsible for the livelihood of the future of the family, for the generations to come. It's not the woman's burden to take in the generations problem, or the societal problem, or that of the husband's dreams. We tell you that the husband's dreams do not matter in light of her rights to her own body. And that is why, what else have they said? They said that having sex is signing up for pregnancy, and that therefore the woman at that moment had consented into it. We tell you that's not true, that many a times the contraceptions do not work, many a times they're not educated well enough to know that there were what the measurements were supposed to be taken, as we see in the parts of US where they do not get sex education due to conservative values that are being preached around those areas, right? So the way to tackle that is to go in and educate those people in sex education classes, instead of what they have proposed. And so far we have shown you that our world individual autonomy, and in turn they have more benefits and cares, and they feel safer. We create a safer space not only for the women, we also create a safe space for the children that are born. And whatever punishment they have under after criminalizing these women, whatever punishment side government has apparently thought of, is most likely to be taking these children out of their care and putting them in foster care, which no children really wants at the end, what no child really wants at the end of the day. Because at foster care they're treated horribly, their rights are ignored, and when they say that they're taking away the rights of a person who's going to become a person, well, guess what? When you criminalize a person's mother, you take away his rights, or his or her rights in the future anyway. So therefore, we have shown you that our model leads to a better world, and we would like more rehabilitation and more support systems for these women, and let them have let them have workplaces where they're legally bound to provide them with more with their systems, and without falling back in terms of competitive edge, and allowing the maternity leave. And we have told you how analogous to how driving can be dangerous, how flying can be dangerous, how walking can be dangerous, or how even cancer treatments for women can be dangerous in terms of their or any other in terms of their fetal health, right? But regardless of that, we tell you that we prioritize the women's body and her and the mother's right to go ahead and cure herself of the disease, and therefore take the next step. We would allow her to go into running fired up buildings. If she's working as a firewoman, we tell you that she can go in and save lives, and she has every right to do so, because as an individual in society, we have no right to overlook her rights, and she has worked very hard in order to get these rights. Feminists have throughout the ages fought for these rights, and they roll in their graves as we discuss of whether or not to rob these women of their choices simply due to societal stigma, which is really associated which is really associated at the core of it, is about patriarchal control of whether of a woman's body, whether or not it's through the label and filter of personhood of the fetal and the well benefits of the baby to come. What's the time? Hello?
How long has it been? Because it's been 8 minutes since you came back.
Hasn't it been 8 minutes?
You've done 8 minutes since you came back to the group chat, and there was somewhere around 5 minutes before that, I think.
What? Okay, cool. So, like, am I done with my speech?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, thanks, man.
Okay, can someone please just thank you for something?
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be really helpful. Fuck.
Alright, who's next? Yellow, this is the yellow speech.
Hello.
Alright, go
Ramisha,
for
could you
it.
check the group chat, please?
Group chat, wait 1 second. Yeah. I need half a minute.
Sure.
Okay, I'm ready. Three, two, one, start. So, Honorable Chair, understand that the objective from government side today is to save as many lives as possible and to make sure that the life of the fetus is protected and to make sure that they have a healthy life as they grow up. From our side, the principle that we have shown today, and my first slash is the principle. The principle is the heart of our case, and we tell you that the opposition has not provided any principle. They have not addressed our principle. They have not rebutted to it. So, what is the principle of our case today? So we tell you the importance of life. We show you how important a life is, and we tell you that the reason why a woman should be criminally liable is the purpose of law is to protect an individual's livelihood. to make sure that each individual gets a right to life. When a fetus is formed, they are inherently ascribed with a right to life. It is not up to the mother or any woman or any person to take away that life, and it is the job of the law to protect that. Therefore, this is why through this principle we justify criminalizing women for the actions that they take that might in any way harm the fetus. We tell you that it is not up to the woman. It should not be up to the woman's reckless behavior to ruin the life of a fetus. Further, we tell you that this can be related when a person is criminalized when they harm another individual, another entity, when they murder or rape, or anyway when their actions affect another human being. It is unfair, it is wrong, and the law should be there to protect that person. We tell you that the opposition has not rebutted to it, the opposition has not addressed our principle. Further, we tell you that the opposition has not provided any principle of their own. Their problems were all mechanistic. So, what were the problems that they provided? They told you that from the Prime Minister we get that childcare services will take them away. We tell you that the childcare services might take them away anyway, as the mother might not be capable of taking care of the child. Their characterization in many ways is very extreme. One example they say is one night of drinking will not harm the fetus. We tell you that our model shows you that the fetus has to be substantially harmed by the actions of the mother for them to be criminalized. It won't be one night of drinking. It won't be one day. It won't be smoking for relieving your pain. It will be, however, it might be if you abuse drugs, or if you drink way too much, or any action or in that matter that might harm the fetus enough so that they might have any physical disabilities. What else do they tell you? They tell you that what else does their model provide? They said that we can put restrictions, we can do counseling. Understand the nature of counseling. Counseling is there to tell you that you should not abuse drugs, you should not drink so much, you should not smoke so much. But understand, Honorable Speaker, that this is common knowledge. Everyone knows that you should not smoke, everyone knows you should not drink or take drugs. Furthermore, when you are pregnant, you should take care of yourself. The mother has taken these decisions in a rational state of mind. We tell you that this is wrong. We tell you that no amount of counseling, no amount of restrictions can stop this mother. But we tell you that our model can. Our model promotes this. And we tell you that this is extremely important. Then they tell you that further their model promotes the idea that mothers have an emotional bond and they will not want to harm their child. We tell you if they do not harm their child, then it is completely fine with us. But they tell you that since mothers know best, but in the status quo we are saying that pregnant women are still continuing to follow out their reckless life, and we tell you that this is harmful for the child. What else do we tell you? My next constructive is the consequences that our model has. We tell you that if our model is carried out, then the mother will stop her reckless acts, reckless activities. What we tell you this happens? How we tell you this happens? Because criminalizing someone is a far more greater incentive to stop something rather than counseling can give you. We tell you that even if you counsel, few women might stop, but that can't possibly stop all. Our model promotes a world where more women will stop these activities that they do that might substantially harm the fetus. This causes deterrence that the criminal, because of criminal record. What are the consequences of this? How does this improve? This improves the health improvement of the mother, and generally the betterment of the family, and also the financial status, as Inkiat has already elaborated enough on this, that the financial problems of a family does not occur. They have not shown any substantial harms of our case, and all their harms, and they base their case on saying that this is on patriarchy. We tell you that this is not, no, this is not the subjugation of women. In fact, it is a way to protect women. It is a way for the betterment of women. You see, when you criminalize someone, they stop they stop drug abuse or any of the other things that we have characterized in our case. We tell you that this is important. It is better if they don't do it. We can't say that, yeah, what men can do, women can do the same, because this is something that is harmful. This is not subjugation of women. This is for the betterment of women. And then they give you another example of extreme characterization. They tell you of workplaces. They tell you of driving. Well, our model clearly states how a baby is harmed, how fetus is harmed through the woman's reckless behavior. Is driving does not harm the fetus, yes, but that is not a woman's lifestyle. That is the lifestyle of people in general. We cannot move 30 years back and use any other form of transport. Driving is what it is, a form of lifestyle of all human race in general. You cannot characterize this as a lifestyle of a reckless woman with carrying a baby. And then they tell you that the risk of consuming alcohol is far less. I would like to repeat my point to rebut this, that they will only be criminalized when the fetus is harmed, substantially harmed. And then another point that they give is, we don't stop men from having this, which men from drinking or having drugs, because that might harm the sperm. Well, you have to understand, Honorable Speaker, is a sperm is equivalent to an egg. We don't protect the egg, Honorable Speaker. We protect the fetus, which is a process of life. It is forming a life right now. It is a life, and we have to protect that life. An egg or a sperm is not a life, and we say that it is not. We do not have to protect it. The state does not have a duty to protect it, but the state does have a duty to protect human life, and therefore this is where we are very proud to propose. Thank you. 8 minutes 49 seconds. Hello?
Thank you, Michelle. Is the next speaker?
Yeah.
Is the next speaker Nadia? Is Nadia here? Matthew. Nadia. This can you get your speech? Wait. Let this Nadia कोई. Hey, Rafi. মাদিয়া মিউট করে রাখছো আজও।
Hello? Hello? Uh, Hello? Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Can I start?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Can I start?
Yeah, you can start. You can hear you. Hello.
Give me a moment. Wait.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm starting.
Ready whenever you are.
Okay, so I'm starting. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, firstly, the whole entire point that the opposition had tried to come up and that the side proposition tried to come up and say today is that when you when you criminalize any act or when you penalize somebody, at that moment, all the criminal activities are stopped, all the crimes are stopped. That's what they want to present us today. Well, tell me something. If criminalizing them or taking any legal actions against them could have stopped everything, then examples like drunk driving or other criminal acts could have stopped. That does not stop. For example, see, for example, a drunk driving. Well, as my second speaker has come up and said, that drunk driving is such an act which occurs every day. Even after you're criminalizing them, you're setting up, if somebody drinks and drives, you're saying that they'll be fined for it, but still that thing does occur. So there is no guarantee that if people drink and drive, so there's no guarantee that if you criminalize any act, that person will not do it in it next time. Now the now the third speaker from the side proposition had come up and said about that they'll only make this legal when drinking alcohol or any such act will substantially harm that kid, harm that unborn baby. Well, fine. Is that so? Are you really sure?
POI, ma'am.
Not taken, ma'am. So are you really sure that criminalizing penalizing them so are you really sure that the damage which is being occurred to the baby is only because of taking alcohols? That's just a cause you're showing, but you cannot show any correlation that alcoholism or due to alcohol that person is damaging her baby, her unborn fetus. And secondly, there are other ways that a baby is harmed, like passive smoking. You're not criminalizing that act, you're just criminalizing what that person is doing. So here goes my first clash, where they are setting up, the side proposition is setting up penalties and where we are showing up solutions. So we find out, the side opposition finds out that penalizing them is much more disrespectful for a mother. It is not only harming a kid, it is also harming that mother. Let's see, for example, why are you penalizing? Because you are penalizing because you want for a healthy baby to born. Well, fine. When you are penalizing that mother, are you sure that mother is going, after giving birth to that baby, that mother is going to grow up that baby in a healthy environment, that nothing is going to happen to the baby? No, there's no guarantee. So only penalizing at that moment is not really a good thing. And when you're penalizing a mother when that baby is born, in our society, in the current status quo, as we see, even people does a very minor thing but a bad thing, people starts bullying about them.
POI,
So
ma'am.
not taken, sir. So in the current status quo, when these things occur, do you think that after that baby is born, that baby is going to grow up in a healthy environment? Yes, taken, sir. POIs?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You tell us that
Acha,
even
Inky, go.
if you tell us that even criminalizing won't help because drunk driving still continues. But under our model, these people think twice before doing this. Under your model, that does not happen. They still continue doing
Well,
that.
on that one, sir, that's just your vague thought, or your vague, just a moral statement that the person thinks twice before doing it. But you cannot show any statistical data, or you cannot show a person that they think twice before drinking and driving. That doesn't really happen. Anyways, so moving on to my clashes. Now, as we think that moving on to my first clash. Okay, so when we are, as my side opposition had come up and showed solutions for them, like counseling them is going to be more respectful. Even counseling them is going to help the parent, help the mother to get rid of these bad habits or reduce them to a lower level. Just see, when a person, like suppose, as my first speaker has said, in the Asian countries, like in Afghanistan or Pakistan, in those countries, a person, a mother is, a girl is always pressurized to do this thing, to do, not to do that, not to go to school, or they are always forced, they are always under the pressure of the society. So on that status quo, if you see that person is not willing to take care of her baby, do you really think implementing those laws will actually help the baby to live in a further more healthy society? No, that won't occur. So if you give them solutions and make them understand that the things that they're doing is wrong, they'll at that time try to understand. For example, the third speaker from the proposition side has come up and said about that counseling does not help. Well, rehabilitation centers does work. Many people, when they come out from there, they do realize, they do stop drinking, they do stop the addictions, that bad addictions that they have, like drinking or taking drinking. So on that point, the rehabilitation centers is an example where explaining people that this thing is a bad thing works. So, and secondly, counseling them actually works. That's the rehabilitation centers are an example, as I said. And secondly, penalizing them does not really work, because if penalizing would have worked, this world would have been crime free, because there have been a lot of crimes and there have been lot of criminal acts taken against it, but still it doesn't work. So that's the biggest example that penalizing does not really work. And as my second speaker has
POI,
said,
ma'am.
not taken, ma'am. As my second speaker have said, that in countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, a girl is always pressurized. So if that girl is not willing to take care of her baby emotionally, and a mother and a child bond is emotionally bonded, so if that mother is not bothered to take care of her child, is that if that mother, before taking the decision of taking a baby, is not cannot leave her bad habits, obviously implementing those criminalizing, penalizing or such acts will not actually make them good. And how can you guarantee that in the next time when they'll be pregnant, they'll always, you cannot rectify them. The next time they'll be pregnant, they'll repeat the same thing. That does happen. And moreover, one of the major rebuttals is that the side proposition did come up and say that penalizing works. Even they penalizing works. Now let's see, if a person is more addicted towards something, like a person who is more addicted to drinking, well, addiction, drug addiction or addiction towards bad habit is more important than what is more addictive. So if you criminalize them also, they won't stop those habits, because when a person is addicted towards drug, or when a person is addicted towards a bad habit, at that moment the person stays on it, and when you force them to stop it, they further become stubborn and do it more. So at that point, criminalizing them does not really work. And if you say criminalizing works, well, criminalizing works for a very short time, while counseling or the solutions that we side opposition has provided can work for a longer term issue. So at that point, we state that rather
UI.
criminally, not taken, sir. So rather criminalizing those acts is worsening the situation. So rather than that, we would take solutions that the side opposition had give up and say. Well, secondly, let's move on
Before
to
you move
the
on, ma'am,
yeah, taken.
Protect time.
well, you said that drinking and driving does not
It's protected time, by the way.
criminalizing drinking driving does not make any difference. Just because it does not make any difference, does that mean you will not penalize drinking and driving?
Well, that's what they said. I repeated the point that
Time is done.
mother and
That is
child,
protected time. You don't have to answer that.
Achha, last one. And, when you're drink driving is an act of crime, fine, because there are accidents occurring for it.
That's time.
Now,
Then
when a person is
statements.
a mother and a child bond is emotionally bonded. So criminalizing them won't help, because if a mother is not emotionally bonded towards her child from the very initial state, you cannot force them to do it. And it, as my first speaker and second speaker has said, it's their freedom of choice. It's women's rights. What do they want to do with their child or not? So you can, if you want to stop, then make acts on how to stop drug addiction, or make how to stop smoking, rather than criminalizing on that particular mother. So that's how the side opposition states that rather how penalizing is harmful, and rather than and why penalizing
Okay,
is
that's time.
and and thirdly, they have stated how their points does not state on this series. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's done.
It's
All right, that now wraps up the constructive round. Sajid, are we doing replies?
No, we're not having replies.
All right, in that case, add me and Khalid to an ad chat. We'll get back to you guys with the feedback as soon as possible.
Yeah, we're